GM everyone, welcome to this new episode. And this episode, we would be speaking about Spheron building on top of Base. I have Luca from the Base team with me, and we would be discussing about how Spheron is building on top of Base, what Base really provides Spheron to build a decentralized GPU marketplace, and also there are periphery of products that are being made by Spheron. So, Luca, glad to have you on the stream, and
Yeah,
it's
thanks for having me.
honestly a pleasure to get the base team on Spheron stream, and we have been doing the streams for quite some time, and our focus has been around making sure that we give a voice and a face to all of these projects and everything which is being built on top of base, which is being built in DAI, and also uh, eventually like the whole decentralization space to give them a voice and a face and be a bit laid back around this. But something that comes to my question, and as you said, why would base be preferred as one of the go-to chains in terms of decentralization and also GPU marketplace? Because GPU marketplace was something which was pretty big. Like 1 year back, everybody was making a marketplace, and they thought like this is a low level thing they can pick up and directly go to market with that. Even like the segment was pretty new to everybody, and everybody was trying something. And what space focus per se, like I'll rephrase my question, what space focus per se in decentralized AI and also into stemming it towards decentralization, because AI is something which is pretty new to everybody, and also decentralization on top of it. So, what's your viewpoint on that?
Yeah, of course. And I could kind of like answer like that. I guess like there's like a few questions there, like why kind of like GPU marketplaces would want to build on base, and then why would like anyone kind of like working on AI infrastructure as a whole want to build on base. And honestly, like after I'm kind of done giving the spiel, would love to like hear from you. I think like the perspective of builders tends to be even more important. So I think of for in terms of like how base is thinking about it, maybe starting with like a the GPU marketplace itself, and choosing why base in the first place. I think ultimately, just as like a base level, it is fast, cheap, and easy to use. Developer experience is quite seamless. We've done a bunch to optimize that both through our own tools. Have a bunch of fantastic teams working on third-party tools to support base and that are supporting base as kind of like a first-class citizen, which obviously like supports all of our developers in the wider ecosystem. We are releasing Flash blocks soon, which should make base quite fast. It'll be 250 millisecond effective block times. Those have been on testnet, expecting to go live on mainnet very soon. And then additionally, obviously, like we're scaling quite quickly, which has made base incredibly cheap as well. I think transactions right now average the median transaction is less than 1/10 of 1 cent, and we're still scaling quite aggressively to both meet the demand of what we anticipate to be hopefully a lot more GPU activity coming from people like you guys, people using decentralized inference. And of course, just like the expanded activity that's happening within the base ecosystem as a whole, within the consumer side with it, and within Coinbase bringing our entire business more on chain, and then also through by bringing like larger businesses on chain. So like just recently, why from a GPU and like infrastructure perspective to build on base, building on top of that, just like how we're thinking about AI more holistically. Um, I think something that like we've been very fortunate of is also have the Coinbase developer platform team working quite hard on the AI side of crypto and like really leaning in there, along with Coinbase Ventures as well, which has given us like really informed opinions on what to optimize for. I think kind of like categorically, we've seen in Coinbase Ventures and Jonathan King from that team like released a blog post kind of breaking this down, but there's, kind of like decentralized AI. And then there's bringing AI on to make like on chain easier. I'm kind of going to talk about more about decentralized AI side and like the more, inference related and hardware and more AI native use cases. But of course, speaking to what I said earlier, like we want to like kind of check the boxes, make sure Bases continues to be fast, cheap, and easy to use as we see increased demand. And then secondly, like we also like want to expand in terms of like the tool set. Um, Make it so that teams can go to market quite easily and then can also like plug in with Coinbase tools such as X402, which is going to build out like an agentic payment standard,
The payment,
ideally.
yeah.
Exactly. Expanding our stablecoin offering, um, expanding what the capabilities of Agent Kit. We now have server-side wallets on the CDP side. We have smart wallets on the base side. So I think all those things combined and then kind of targeting that into um, a package that makes sense for AI companies specifically. I think it has been why the ecosystem has been growing. But also like curious as to your perspective, what tools you guys have used, what you found most useful. I think it's also like really helpful for, as you said, like giving builders an audience, including yourselves. Why you guys chose to build on Base. Anything that was really easy. Also, like anything that was like difficult that we can improve upon.
So I think, like in complete honesty, uh, my technical team would be the right people to comment on that. But I can give you on surface of what our experience has been. Like mostly on the ecosystem side, I can speak on like, and even like I was myself exploring 402, and we are like it's something which is in our roadmap to implement it on Skynet. Like I don't know if you saw Skynet yet, like
Mhm.
the no code agent builder. Now we come from a perspective of we create things that we would think that we need, right? Like it's a bit, I know it's a bit Rick Rubin POV of things, like really focusing on what our taste is, but in involving Skynet or Clippy or Supernodes or even Spheron, like the things which we have built are something which we have foreseen are one of the issues that was with decentralization. Like I'm aware that there would be so many projects that are building decentralization now. Now here comes the question, like are they decentralized just because of the decentralization batch, or do they really solve a problem via decentralization? Because we would have gone just created a next AWS, right? Like that could have just spinned up and became a thing. But right now, like we are using wallets, and I'm not sure like if you were able to follow the news that we did like
Mhm.
21,000 NFTs minted on top of Base just via Clippy.
Yeah,
So
no, it's
Deepin is
crazy.
an yeah, Deepin is a new game which has been there for a quite some time. Like once you see that there is so much volume that can be captured, and there is so much value that can be captured and uh, withdrawn with user base, like you need things which can scale upon. So one of the reasons which we have chose Base is that it is easy to scale on Base, honestly. Like the tangibility to do business alongside via having a chain, like a blockchain infrastructure in the background, you need those tools, and you need that perspective that it can scale upon different types of businesses. Calling it I mean, I'm sure like there would be uh, chains with high throughput, and there would be chains with different functionalities which solves on the complete trilemma. But our focus has been like what can be scaled as a business, what can be eventually like you can be provided to the users or to the builders who are building into this segment, and where is the arbitrage in that. Like mostly hyperscalers and anybody who's in this into this space, they have been making money for quite some time, and now that comes in from the complete flywheel of understanding where the value sets in and how the supply chain really works, because it's a supply demand issue with anything what you see out there, even tech products. Like if you see that there is a GPU marketplace, there should be a lot of demand for that. And damn, somebody asked in the comments, I wonder if Luca has tried modeling. Yeah, he has tried data modeling, guys, if you are asking that. But yeah.
Yeah, we'll keep it to data modeling exactly.
But yeah, that's a good comment to have on a live stream. But coming back to the to my POV of building a decentralized GPU marketplace on top of Base, and honestly, like I say this under no pressure. Nobody is behind the wall. So
Mm.
and Base team has been pretty supportive of Spheron's subjective steps and even objective steps via business side. Like I would potentially go out and say like Luca has been pretty bullish from the day I think we met in New York. So to till yet, so that's what a support really means. Like somehow at the end of the day, it really boils down and trickle down to the amount of warmth and the amount of business tangibility a specific chain has. So I don't know if you're building an AI, I think Base becomes a no brainer for a lot of folks.
Yeah, and just to kinda, like, echo off that, I mean, something that you guys have done extremely well and a reason I mean, one, like, base in general, I think, like, from top down, and this really stems from Jesse, like, our goal is to be as supportive as possible, and the most inviting place to build on chain. We understand we have a long way to go in terms of onboarding, a much larger community to come. So that's been, like, our utmost priority is like our builder support, how we treat our community, how we help builders in our community grow. But something that you guys have done extremely well that I think has should serve as an example to many in the base ecosystem, and I think has been reflected in the growth and success that you guys have had it into this point, is obviously like a number of things. But one, you guys have done a fantastic job. Obviously, just like being heads down and shipping high quality products and also building the open. I think like those are like the two kind of like main ethos of base is being heads down shipping. I'm sure you may have seen some of the stuff on the Coinbase wallet team is working on. Team has been we have our release coming up in 2 weeks, and they've been head down working until pretty much like 1 a.m. every night for the past few nights. It seems like you guys have been shipping with that same sort of energy that our startup should be shipping with over the past few months and in the time you guys have been around. Um, and additionally, like have continued to like put out demos, like have engaged with us and with like other builders in the ecosystem to try to onboard them onto Skynet and obviously like the main GPU marketplace and the products you guys continually build out. And then you guys have received the data on that, received user feedback, and are able to improve the product from there. So I think that's also made it like quite easy. As much as I would love for potentially the base team to take any credit for any of the success that teams have on the platform, I think it really ultimately comes down to teams like you guys who are heads down executing, and us really just trying to act as an enabler. So again, I mean, I'll end with this as well. Obviously, we're not close to ending the stream right now, but like, please, if you're watching this, like, just reach out. Literally anyone from the base team, the base core team, myself, Jesse, engineers, DevRel, whoever you have an existing relationship, or just like in the Discord, someone will be there to support you and to provide guidance there. And I hopefully Spheron is a good example of the type of growth of just like continue heads down building and the growth that results from that.
But like, do you really see like? Thanks for the kind words. But do you really see like what kind of top down approach Base really follows in providing support to different ecosystem projects which are there, like specifically for AI? Because you see that there is a big vacuum of developers which are specifically doing on chain, right? Because once you trickle down into the spaces where Web2 has done some amazing work in AI, you see that there is this vacuum that has been created. Like if anything is that is happening on chain, there are eyebrows which goes up, which is like, okay, why this is happening on chain, what's the requirement for this, and like how do you protect those builders and how do you foresee that okay, this is going to be the uh, epitome of the success if this project reaches well, like for Spheron, for other people who are building on base, like how do you foresee that? And like eventually, like that's the way to go, like for a chain to foresee that okay, this can happen with these projects in this amount of time. Like, is it really tied down to capital? Is it tied down to liquidity which they get, or is it tied down to more number of users? Like what's your like focus in that?
Yeah, I think it depends per team. Just because, especially in the AI space, I think the customer base tends to be so decoupled from the core crypto ecosystem to a certain extent. Uh, where like, in the future, majority of your users and developers who are paying for GPU access, more than likely like will not be maybe hopefully every company will be like a crypto native company, but I think this will all get abstracted away, and you guys will be breaking out into like mainstream. And our goal is really like, okay, like how do we bring that mainstream, make them aware of all the advantages that teams have by building on chain, and then also like respectively from your end or from whatever team we're working with, understand like what their core priorities are. So like for a team like you guys, if it's expanding um, the number of developers, I think there's like two probably like main things within AI that we're really focused on in terms of growing the pie for developers, which will hopefully lead to increased growth for companies building AI on base. One is just like the rise of these, which you guys are already taking a step towards, but the vibe coding platforms, right? Like we can now turn essentially anyone into a developer. Um, so that's going to be a huge stream of people who are like also hopefully very open to building on chain. And their activity is going to be very AI driven. So they're going to have a need for compute and inference. Um, we want to work with you guys to help use Base, our influence, Coinbase's influence, to try to help you get in front of those people. On the other side, it's probably on the more hardcore AI developers and researchers, folks who have been building this space for quite an extended period of time. Maybe they're not as familiar about crypto, or like maybe like it's just like not a priority for them, and they're really just looking for like the best product that fits their needs. But maybe teams have had trouble like getting in front of this audience for one reason or another. So that's kind of like another segment of builders that we found very important to help teams like you get in front of these folks, to educate them in terms of like, hey, like you now have access to very cheap, on demand, and reliable compute that's accessible globally as well. Which I think is also another thing that's like quite compelling about crypto, and something that like Base has done is also like expanding geographies quite aggressively. We now have, I want to say almost 10, maybe more than 10 at this point, country leads representing Base in like various areas throughout the globe, um, who are also helping source like local builders who have like their own needs. I think all of these people are very interested in AI, and on-chain AI might be the easiest way for them to access the most up-to-date models, inference, and compute as well.
But do you think like I don't know, I can sound a bit like every chain has a kind of trickled down to an idea of having multiple country leads all around. Like
Mhm.
at what extent do you think that really helps? Like how would you, is there a way that you need to keep the like technically viable, yes, like, but what are the ways, like why would I be in Base's ecosystem versus anybody else? Now this is a broad question which I'm asking because yes, the other ecosystem definitely exists, and like I can answer from the compute end, but I would love to know like what would keep a builder mostly on one chain, and also I would want you to like focus on why a builder should, because we have been into the Ethereum ethos for I don't know, like forever. Yeah.
Mhm.
But we want to maintain that. Now, there was a way like what people did, like X thing on Y chain, right? That became a thing quite popular few years back. Now, how do you maintain that this specific builders only stays, or even projects which have like successfully raised amount, and like how do you maintain those relationships with those projects and make sure that they do not leave from the specific ecosystem?
Yeah, of course. I think again, I'm gonna like kind of repeat some points. But I think there's three main things. One is obviously just like incredible and reliable and fast infrastructure. That needs to work first and foremost. You need that to create great products. If you don't have that, you can't create a great product. That product then doesn't get users, and then they tend to like leave the chain because it doesn't suit their needs. So like first and foremost, we need to build a platform that supports our app that we're coming out with in Coinbase Wallet that's going to onboard millions of users, and hopefully the dozens and hundreds of other applications and companies that are also bringing on millions of users. So that's first and foremost. It's going to work. It's going to work extremely well, and it's going to continue to be around for a long term. And we want to give builders confidence in that. So that's the first thing. I think second thing is the amount of the support of both the base core team and the wider community. I think that exists beyond just base BD, but it exists into like engineers who are working on the core protocol, who are like jumping on calls with builders and helping them understand their problems. Our DevRel team, which is incredible, our country leads that I just mentioned. We also have some extended programs like base batches, just we just did to cultivate kind of like growing independent builders into like fully fledged teams that can go get funding, get them in front of funding, etc. And then the wider base community is also extremely supportive, where we have people basically doing like independent DevRel and just like have found like a core community within base. I think the final reason why people stay on base, I think this is maybe the most important reason at the moment, something we're continuing to lean in on, is distribution. Oh, okay, here we are. We lost you for a second. But distribution is always our number one ask from builders, and we're addressing this in multiple ways. I think a really exciting announcement coming up will be the rebranded Coinbase Wallet with a huge focus on mini apps, social, messaging, etc., which is going to be an incredible way for people to get in front of millions of users through Coinbase Wallet and then convert those power users their platform and from there. So I think an incredible way that not many other ecosystems can offer in terms of distribution. Also on distribution, a few months ago, we acquired the Spindle team, which is on-chain advertisement. They're expanding their scope of publishers, which allows you to basically run targeted ad campaigns across multiple surfaces, including Coinbase Wallet, to target to wallets that you think would be a good fit to bring into your ecosystem and hopefully convert as well. And then what's it called? And then the last, I think, which is really exciting announcement the other week is just the way Coinbase is giving exposure to base projects as well. I think probably one that excited a lot of people on the token side is the retail DEX announcement, where all base tokens are going to be tradable on the main Coinbase app that everyone knows and loves, through in a very like seamless way. So you don't even have to do anything. If you have a token that is live on a base DEX, it will be accessible to all Coinbase Wallet users. So I think that's incredibly exciting. And those are just like three core ways that one, the base ecosystem team is and wider team is like supporting builders and what we're doing there, and then also giving distribution.
Pretty amazing. Very, very well put, honestly, because I know like this question was a bit of a curveball. Like, it can be like, okay, why is asking, why is comparing us to other people, right? Like, but I think that's what we love about the ecosystem. But I would leave to you on few things that you would want from understand from base perspective that okay, what are the things which we have been doing so far into optimally reaching like from a builder side and also from like developing a lot of things which are obviously builder centric, yes, uh, which are agent centric, yes, which are mostly text to video, and a lot of agentic side, and plus a lot of application layer side as well, like infra plus application, and it covers both part as well, like storage, compute, and agents are the eventual part of that. But yeah, would love to answer like what you have uh, to ask us around that.
Yeah, I think actually, because you guys are one of the few teams that are kind of like building this like very holistic ecosystem, right? Like you have like the GPU network. Now there's like the no code agent platform, and there's like a few other products around that. And I think something that Base is really focused on internally is like how our flywheel works and how that looks. And that's like something that like I kind of just explained, without like exactly explaining the flywheel, but would love to like understand how you guys are thinking about that for Spheron, like what the flywheel works for you guys as a holistic company, and like how all these different products fit together to also like grow your community, and expand the user base there.
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing that we need to know, like Seron sits on compute. So there is anything that can happen with compute. It's like water, right? So you can just package it and sell it for like $5, right? And there is a lot of things that can eventually happen with like on the application layer. So once you see like Clippy, which is text to video, and we have been coming with multiple updates around that as well. And then we have Skynet, and then we have Supernodes. Now everything caters to a specific use case for a defined community, and also can be increased towards a set of people who are new to the space. So let's say like you join in today and you say, okay, I want to create videos. Now for you don't have to specifically understand what blockchain really means. How does it really works? Like for you, it's plain and simple, a simple application which creates text to video, and it can happen on DeepIn, which is decentralized physical infrastructure. Now, for you to not know the backend, it doesn't really matter. Whilst if you are utilizing Spheron and you're going ahead and leasing compute and you're training your own model, or you are doing multiple stuff around that, like you are eventually going on and getting an H100 or H200 to fine tune your own model. Now, this caters to a different kind of audience, which is people who are utilizing compute. And our focus is to provide the most robust and scalable compute that is on chain. And interestingly enough, there is no node as a service right now which utilizes decentralized compute. Like for real, I was kind of surprised. Like everybody's trying to sell the idea of like node as a service, and then they build a AWS wrapper on top of it, and like we were really surprised. Like at the end of the day, we had to take the job and do it ourselves, and like we list the nodes and everything ourselves. Now that specific audience is also very specific. Now these packets and buckets of different audience really relates to one thing, and that is Spheron. Eventually, there is compute getting used to do any of these functions on chain, and on the back end of it, Base is there, right? You see that there are so many videos that are being created right now. What are they using? Compute, storage. They're being stored somewhere. So there is a lot of things which are happening on the back end. But I see a plain, simple front end where I can go and create videos apart from anything, apart from. And now this adds to the flywheel. There is so much compute that needs to be used. There is so much compute that needs to be connected. Like retail is connecting so much compute on top of Spheron. I I don't want to jump the gun and say like, oh, let's do that. Like we are running at 96% capacity of our data centers and of our machines. Like that's insane. We haven't really saw such huge amount of utility in so less time, and that's only because of the flywheels, the mini subset flywheels which we have created, they act towards running the whole complete set of the bigger flywheel. Like that would eventually act as one of the running flywheels for base as well. But that's what the whole point is, that you need to create those subset of products and subset of actually working things which can leverage builders out there. And that's what our focus is, to play on the part where things are actually required. Like, and yeah, everybody's a big believer of thinking like there are things that can happen on chain, there are things that should happen on chain, and there are things that shouldn't happen on chain. So we think in that way, like that's a process, like that's a very simple process, but it really helps us to step back, realize what things are really working. Anybody who's working into this space or building into this space, are only two senses that, do you really think you're going to use it? Do you really think you want to scale it? And if yes, go ahead, go completely into that. Don't think about anything else. Don't think about how's market going to treat you. Don't think about how things are going to be, because 4 years of building, like, believe me, like, everybody, surviving for 4 years is a big thing in crypto, like I see so many cycles happening in around the world, and it's amazing to see like we have survived for so long because the only focus was to cater to what the audience really wants.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, always a good reminder that it's always day one. That's a saying we have at base. It does always feel like day one, and like we also just like want to keep that day one energy. There's still a lot more to prove, a lot more to build, in terms of bringing the world on chain. But it is nice to see some folks again, after being in survival mode and all these kind of like different phases of crypto. We'll really just start to see like this probably being the inflection we hope for mainstream adoption. I guess like the last thing to kind of like end things off, given that sentiment of it's still day one, is you guys again said this before, but you guys have been shipping. What's on the roadmap for you guys? What are you super excited about? Um, and yeah, I guess like leave everyone with what they could look forward to on the Saffron roadmap.
For sure. I think something that you should look upon to is that we're going TGE in few days. So yeah, look, fingers crossed for that. And in terms of products, we crossed around, I think, 6 million in ARR. And Clippy has been, you can now do something which is, there is a new update which is coming on Clippy and which is going to blow many people away, like image to video. So it's up to your imagination. So what you can really create, and that happens on deep in compute. And Skynet has a new set of tools which you can go ahead and evolve with and create your agents and deploy on. And Supernode as well. There are few nodes. See, my team has provided me with so many cards to go ahead and tell. It becomes a thing, like to tell about series of things. But yeah, that's who we are. Like that's where our focus has been, and like eventually, like we would see a lot of people from the base ecosystem, from every other people who is trying to jump onto crypto, to jump on Spheron as well and use decentralized compute from the day one, and not realize like that there is any friction whilst doing that. And thanks to base for that as well, in a lot of sense. So yeah, that's what you should look on. I would ask you as well if there is anything that is people should keep an eye from the base ecosystem.
I think the biggest thing I'll leave people with is keep on the lookout for the new Coinbase wallet. It's going to be super exciting. It's going to kind of like couple with this large event we're hosting. Encourage people to sign up for the live stream happening on July 16th. Follow along on the Coinbase wallet account. I think it'll be something you don't want to miss. And also just like sign up to be on the wait list, so you could be first to use the app as well when it's live. Yeah, and ultimately, thank you for having me on and inviting me here to share more about why to build on the base ecosystem. I hope this also love to hear the updates on your end too. I hope this serves as like a great example of to like what a like a true revenue generating business can look like on chain as well. And the road to that is you know uh it requires a good amount of head down building and belief, and you guys have like really embodied that. And it's a pleasure to be building with you guys, and we're thankful for y'all choosing base as the place to do that.
Absolutely. Every day is a good day build on base and use Spheron. So yeah, thank you so much, Luca, for being here. And thank you so much, audience, for watching this. Up to the next episode.
Thank you, everyone. Reach out if you want to build on base. Bye.